Hi, and welcome to Coffee Talk, the show where we tackle messy life with simple truths. My name is Teresa McKelvey.
And my name is Andy Kinman. So go ahead and grab your favorite drink and join us today as we talk about relationships and rules.
So have you tried any different kind of coffees this week?
I have not tried any different coffees.
No.
No.
But have you tried your normal same coffee?
I've tried a lot of
Something
coffee this
different?
week.
Yeah.
I've tried a lot of coffee. No
I tried
different
something
coffee.
different. Some chai. Oh, I'm going to say it wrong. It's CHAI
Oh, okay.
So delicious.
I like sweet tea.
Well, this has honey. This is what made me think of it. It has honey in it,
Yeah.
and it has it's almost like, I hate to say because I know I'm going to say it wrong, but like a cinnamon spice in it. It's so good, so delicious. Like not cinnamon, like a hot pepper kind of.
That's weird. So
Yeah,
it's a peppery.
It's like
honey,
a black
sweet.
green tea kind of something. I
Hot or cold?
It's hot.
All right.
At least the one I fixed was.
All right. I guess you can make it cold.
I don't know. I guess so.
Coming up on the next episode, however you pronounce that word, tea. I want to try that stuff.
It's very good. It's delicious.
I haven't branched out real far in the teas.
In your coffee.
It's
In the teas.
In the teas, it's either sweet or unsweet with.
So you haven't tried like chamomile tea or? Oh, I have all kinds of teas.
Yeah.
We'll have to.
I tried chamomile tea one time, but I fell asleep before I finished it.
So Father's Day is coming up. Is that what you're asking for? More tea? More coffee?
I already got my
Did
gift.
you put those hints out there?
I've already got my gift.
Oh,
so
what's that?
yeah, I'll probably get my wife something. I got a PlayStation. It's my
play?
guilty pleasure. That's my guilty pleasure.
What kind of games does a pastor play?
What kind of games do I play? I like sport games.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I really like them, not because I do enjoy sports, but because it's different every time. No, I enjoy like those war-based games. I think they're kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think those are fun,
Yeah.
And, they can get different. Back in the day, we played Mario Brothers,
Right,
and
exactly.
you could just run straight through it, and you knew everything that's going to happen.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I play sport games. It's my guilty pleasure. Sometimes when I'm studying, I'll put on like Adrian Rogers, one of his sermons or something in the background,
Yeah.
and I'll turn the volume down on the TV and I'll play my game, because if I just tried to listen to the sermon, I'd fall asleep.
Yeah.
So it keeps my hands occupied while I'm listening to the sermon. So yeah, I do that. So it's a guilty pleasure of mine. So what? Judge
that's
me.
Cool. That's cool.
We get so caught up a lot of times on stuff that really ultimately doesn't matter, and we don't have time to go into how all these rules came to be.
Right.
I mean, we have a set of rules. I don't want to call them rules.
I
but,
know, yeah.
I hate to use the word rules, but there's a list of do's and don'ts, right? And then, we have denominations because people interpreted things differently and they made their own rules, and now
Right.
whose rules are the right rules?
Exactly.
And that makes being a Christian so hard when ultimately it's not about rules and check marks and do
Right.
this and don't do that. It's about this relationship that we have with Christ that compels us to live a life that ultimately looks like we're following rules,
Yeah.
but we're not. It's this relationship we have with Christ to where we love Him, and so we're compelled to read His Word. We're compelled to pray, and therefore the Spirit leads us through His Word, and we begin to live this life that looks like we're following a set of rules, which really we're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone says you're religious, it's almost like an accusation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And why do you think that is?
Well, because religious people are a lot of times looked at as judgmental,
Yes.
hypocritical,
Yes.
snobby even.
Amen.
Yeah, better than you.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, and being, quote unquote religious in that bad sense. And I guess we use that word today. We'll use it in a negative connotation, to where it's not a negative thing, but it has been turned into a negative thing. And when we get to that point, we have to be careful, because it can very easily dominate our prayer life to a point to where we're not praying to talk to God. We're just praying because we think we have to every day. Or when we sit down to eat, oh, wait, we haven't prayed yet,
Do you think that's a good indication of when you are out of balance? Because I think as a Christian, you said earlier, which I think is kind of like a light bulb went off my head. We do things because we're compelled to, because we're Christians, but on the outside it could look like we're following a set of rules.
Yeah.
But we're following them because our heart is in a right place.
Yeah.
Do you think a good way of knowing when maybe you have flipped over into legalism is when maybe you're at someone's house and you're so focused on, we didn't pray. Yeah. And then you're no longer conversing or having a relationship because you're sitting back going, we didn't pray.
I try to pray before I eat because I am thankful for what I have, but it's not something that I'm like, your kids, they start to eat and you're like, put your fork down.
Right, exactly, exactly.
So, I think when you get to that kind of point, you're getting dangerously close to stepping off into religious waters.
Right, right.
So, it can kill your prayer life or dominate your prayer life. It can, like we're talking about, it can really hurt your daily walk with Christ, because are you walking with Christ? Really? Amen. I mean, are you in tune, to what he's saying, or are you just living out some set of rules and do's and do nots that you've always heard and learned? So that's the downside, really, to being too religious.
Yeah, I could slip into legalism quite easily because I come from such a place. My heart wants to do right. I want to be right, and then I'll say to Jeff all the time, because he's so he really understands grace and that relationship with God. He's never had a trouble with legalism, and I'll say, well, I can't even go to God now because I hadn't gone to him at a certain time and he's like, Jesus don't care, just talk to him whenever you want to talk to him. He's more concerned with you coming to him than if you came to him at the first thing of the morning, or before anything else.
Right.
So.
Well, and that gets into the relationship part of it. Is it's a relationship just like any other relationship. I mean, do you have a certain time that you call Jeff? I mean, I know some couples do, but I mean, really, is it like I have to call Jeff?
At work, but
I have to do this at this time. I have to do this. That's not a relationship. A relationship is, it's a bond that you have with someone, and that's what that's ultimately what Christianity is supposed to be about. Is this relationship we have with Christ that, to go back, like I said, that compels us, that we want to do what Christ says. We have to be careful, and I was thinking about this a second ago. We talk about, you said grace a minute ago, and it led me to think about this, is let's not get our lines crossed when we say it's not about do's and don'ts, because a lot of people, they try to use that religion excuse to live however they want to. This is my relationship with Jesus, and they use that, I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person. But we have to be careful with that, because a lot of people use that, as an excuse to live however they want to live and do whatever they want to do, and they get tied up in this rebellion and worldliness.
Don't you think we also have to be careful that we don't do something that causes, because I think Paul talks a lot about this, about how even though it may not be a sin or a rule for you, but it could cause someone else to stumble.
Yes.
And we have to be careful. There's some things that we do abstain from because of that. And it could look like we're just following rules, but I like the way you have presented it. It's more like we're just compelled to a certain lifestyle based on not wanting to cause not wanting to harm our own relationship with God, or make anyone else harm their relationship.
With Paul, the situation they're dealing with is it's meat. They're talking about this group eats meat, this group don't, and Paul's like, look, you've got the freedom to eat whatever.
Which was radical to them, right? Because they were Jews. They were, underneath extremism, following. So to them, that's a radical, way of thinking.
Yeah. Eat whatever you want.
Right.
We've lifted the ban on whatever. So eat whatever it is that you want to eat. And he's like, but look, if it's an issue for you, I'm not going to do it.
What other points do you have on this subject?
I don't know. I did find a couple of quotes that I liked.
Okay.
Paul Washer, who's really, he's a popular evangelical guy, and he's hardcore. But I saw a quote. He said, a lot of people think that Christianity is you doing all the righteous things that you hate and avoiding all the wicked things you love in order to go to heaven. No, that's a lost man with religion. A Christian is a person whose heart has been changed. They have new affections.
That is good, yeah.
Yeah, and then the other one's a little lighter. I don't know, this wasn't attributed to anyone, but it said religion is a guy in church thinking about fishing. Relationship is a guy out fishing thinking about God.
That is a good one.
I thought that was pretty good there.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is, when we talk about relationships over rules, is to just be careful when we live under grace, and when we focus our energies on, well, I'm covered by grace. One of the biggest things that I see in Christian circles is that we use that grace to just indulge in sin. And we never allow ourselves to be changed. We totally ignore repentance. We totally ignore sanctification, which is us changing, becoming more Christ-like. Just because we live under grace and we're not bound by a set of rules does not mean that we're not expected to change.
Right.
And as believers, we should want to change. It's a natural thing that should happen to us when we enter into that relationship with Christ. And when we feed that relationship through, a daily Bible study, if it's nothing but a devotion that you do on your phone every morning for 15 minutes, and praying before you start your day, getting into that habit, you're feeding that relationship. You take that devotion and, you meditate on that all the way to work or all the way to school or whatever, and you just kind of keep that and you try to live that out. You try to apply whatever it is to your life, and you're strengthening that relationship.
Yeah.
And all of that, that's what it's about. It's not about having a list of boxes that you check off every day.
Right.
That's not what it is. It's not a list of things
going through a set of motions.
Yeah. But evidence of our faith in Christ is that our life will change. And as that relationship is built, you'll see those differences in your life, and it's not rules.
Right.
It's love for God.
Yeah.
And following His word.
Something I would like to ask you is, I think a lot of people, what stops them from walking into a church is that they know where their life is at. And I think there's a misconception they've got to fix and know all the rules before they can even come in the door. And that's not really what you as a pastor preach, is it?
No, none of us have it all together. And if we waited till we had it all together, nobody would ever be in church.
Amen, yeah.
I don't have it all together.
Me either.
On my best day, I'm still a mess. That's why I lean on Jesus so much. That's why I lean on my faith. But it's sad. It really is sad because there is a legit concern there.
Yeah.
And I've heard it said that Jesus hates religion. Jesus, he hate religion. He hates hypocrites.
Right. Yeah.
He hates false religion. He hates when people try to appear religious to show off.
Right.
You know, so no, Jesus, he wants us to come to him as we are.
Right. Yes.
We will never be good enough to come into his presence.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we can never make ourselves good enough for him.
It's only through him that we are made perfect.
Absolutely. And so, you know, we can just forget thinking we'll ever be good enough, you know, because none of us are.
Right. So it's twofold. It's one for the people who are turned off from religion because they think, well, I can't follow those rules. It's don't let that stop you from having a relationship. The relationship's more important.
That's right.
And it's to the people who are in church, who are of the religious body, to make sure that they're not being so religious that they're stopping from people from having that relationship with God.
You nailed it.
Okay, good.
Amen.
Whew, I get an A.
You nailed that. You got that
Good.
one.
Because I'm a very imperfect person, and I know a lot of people that know me and say, "Oh, she's on a religious talk show now." I know when she used to, you know, but I'm just saved by grace. I choose to walk in that freedom of, "Oh, I've made a mess of my life. You better believe it." But Jesus said, "I'm not holding it against you, so let's go on." And so I'm just walking in that. I call it walking in that freedom of it. But
yeah, absolutely. That's what we're called to do.
it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Walk in the freedom.
That's what we should have called our show today.
Walking in the freedom. That's right. The simple truth that we're going to leave you with today comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and starting in verse 1. This is from the ESV. And it says, "If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have, and if I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing."
Okay, so we hope that you found the conversation helpful today. And we do have a recommendation of Fresh Air by Pastor Chris Hodges. It's a great book that goes along with our topic today. So in the comment section below or on Twitter, Facebook, or even Instagram, leave us a comment. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you'd like to hear more of. And submit a question. We'll try to tackle whatever you put on there.
Thank you for joining us today. And if you like what we're doing, then give us a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. It's free. All right?
Yes.
Subscribe. Just subscribe. Get you an account. Costs nothing. Subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss any episodes. All right? So until next time, see you later.
Bye. What else would you like to add to our conversation today? Is there anything that we haven't gotten to or that you wanted to bring out or point out to everyone?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of hot wings.